Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Phil. This is 3D Japan. Welcome back. And today we've got a really cool, hopefully, 3D scanner we're going to be checking out. This was sent over by 3DMakerpro, as you can see there. This is their Moose scanner. It says it has AI visual tracking. I guess that helps the scan be a little more accurate. It says 0.03 millimeter accuracy. That's pretty good. 0.07 millimeter resolution. And the scan ranges from 15 millimeters to 1500 millimeters. So that's a pretty big range. Let's open this box up and see what it is all about. So, first thing in the box, see, we get a nice carrying case. Put this away. Alright, let's open this up. So this case alone is very nice, and that's kind of what one thing right off the bat that is nicer than some of the other scanners I've seen. Now this is $699, so hopefully we're getting what we pay for here. Okay, we get some mesh pockets here. Let's see what's in this one. Okay, some cables, and we got a top for the turntable it comes with. This is interesting. It has some nice textured lines on here. It would help with the scan. It's also, I got to see some random letters on there. It probably helps with detail for the scanner to pick up. So that's interesting. Over here we have a very thin, like, pamphlet manual and a wrist strap. Tight Velcro. Get that open. Okay, we've got, I don't know if we can get this out. We've got a turntable. Let's see that. It looks like it's very basic. It's just a USB, micro USB plug on there. I don't see any other buttons or switches or anything, so it might just automatically start turning as soon as you plug it in. Nothing else there. Got a USB power brick. Got a little tripod, extendable. Okay. And then we've got the scanner itself. It's pretty small, and I really like the shape so far. It looks like it'd be very easy to hold in your hand for doing scans. I see some vents down here, and I do see a tripod mount, so it could be mounted like that. Okay, and then I guess this could probably also be used as a handle for doing handheld scanning. Oh, that is it. Oh, there's another cord. I'll go with the power brick. And some silica gel. Don't eat that. What else do we have here? It's a little, just a quality certified tag. But looks like that's it. That's everything it comes with. So let's do some scanning. See how it works. Okay, so I got this set up and I did a little bit of testing with it. Just figured out how to do a few scans and came out pretty good, so let's talk about it. Beforehand, let me show you my cool shirt from geeksoutfit.com. Schrodinger's cat is my spirit animal. It reminds me of my old cats. Yeah, if you want to get a cool shirt like this, or they have similar other shirts or sweatshirts and other geeky, nerdy stuff, Check out geeksoutfit.com and use code PHIL25 to get 25% off. So, about the scanner. Yeah, we got it all set up here. We got the scanner with its little tripod. We've got the cable attached. So one thing to note is, here is the power cord, power plug. One thing to note is the way it's positioned. If you're putting this in a power strip, a typical standard power strip, the way it's angled, it's going to take up 2 slots, just so you know. The other thing to note is it is not very long. So yeah, this basically I have my power strip is directly under the table here, and it barely reaches. So let's plug it in. Okay, so that is plugged in, and you can see it does not really go much further than this. And the other part of the cord is here, which goes in your computer and seems to be even shorter. So let's plug that in. And I've got a little car here to scan, but so the other thing is this tripod that it comes with. It's kind of flimsy. Any kind of tug on this cord is gonna knock it over. And in fact, at some points I have found that just the weight of the cord alone was enough to pull it over. So just for safety's sake, so we don't accidentally damage it, luckily it uses a standard tripod mount on the bottom of the Moose, and so I've got a GorillaPod here, and this is very sturdy, so I think this will be no problem. So I'm going to switch over to the GorillaPod. Okay, there, so that fits perfectly on the GorillaPod. Works very well, and then we can angle it down. Okay, next thing to talk about is the software that it comes with. And I found, first of all, you have to connect the scanner to the computer before starting the software. So that means that if you restart the software, shut it down, shut it back, turn it back on, it means you also have to disconnect the Moose and then plug it back in. It's just something to be aware of. And I'll plug in the turntable here so it'll automatically start spinning. I've got my die-cast car here, and I have not actually tried to scan this one yet. So it is a little bit shiny and it's kind of a darker color, so we may need to spray it with some 3D scanning spray. But you know, that would be the same with just about any scanner. So we'll just try it out first, and if we need to scan it, if we need to spray it, we'll spray it. I hope it's not going to roll off there. Okay, seems alright. Okay, so I'll start my screen capture here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's start, we'll click scan. And the strobe turns on. Now we can adjust the distance. So we have 2 modes here. We have easy scan, which is really meant for handheld scanning, holding it around. And then we have table scan, which is what we're going to be doing here with the turntable. So I'll switch to that. And it looks like it's picking it up all right. So let's just try and give it a scan and we'll see. So we have an initial button down here. One thing to note is there is very little instructions. The little pamphlet they gave really just told you how to connect everything together. There is a getting started YouTube video, but it goes very fast, and the subtitles that are telling you what's happening kind of stop at some point, so you just have to kind of guess what's happening. So I kind of figured it out myself and watched some other reviewers on YouTube to figure out how to work it. One thing I noticed is there are not a whole lot of controls for getting really, in-depth, precise, detailed changes if you want. That said, it seems to scan pretty well. So let's make sure I've got this aimed correctly at the middle. Here. Okay, and so it says initial for the button at the bottom, and what that is we first remove the object from there, and we click that and do a little scan of just the turntable. So, strange thing is it seems to be scanning the car even though the car's not there. It's very strange. So we'll do one full rotation of the table. I'm guessing this is going to work even though it seems to be scanning the car without the car being there. So by scanning just the turntable, now it knows where the turntable is in the software, and then it makes it easy to delete the turntable after you're done scanning the vehicle or the whatever object you're scanning. So I think that's pretty good. So let's stop initializing now and put the car back. Hopefully it will not roll off. Get it a little more centered. There we go. Alright. So now I'm going to adjust our brightness to make sure it's not too bright. You want to see, you don't want to see the bright red on the screen, but it's okay to have a little bit. If you go too dark, then you won't pick up details. Okay. So that should be good. It's just getting a little bit of red, but it should be alright. Okay, so let's hit scan. And curiously, it's not showing anything scanning on there. I wonder if this is my screen capture software using up too much of the video RAM. Okay, so I feel like it should have stopped by now. Let's try and do this without the video capture software. Sorry, you won't be able to see it. Okay, I restarted the software, so it should be working okay now. We'll try the initial scan. Seems to be working okay now, it's just scanning the platform. Okay, that's probably good enough. So let's turn that off. Adjust this a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's put the car back, and hopefully we don't have any issues with it rolling. And I'll start the scan again. And you can see at the bottom, it shows the number of frames that it's scanning. Before you scan, you can set that number. So usually about 325 or so frames is one rotation. You might like to set it a little bit higher than that so that it has a little bit to match up if you do 2 scans. So it looks like it's not quite picking up the front and the back. So might have to adjust the scanner position and do another scan to make sure we get those. Okay, it is now rebuilding all the scan data, putting them together. Okay, that's done, and so we can turn our model around and I can see that yes, it did not get the front and the back. It also did not get much of the interior, but the rest of it looks pretty good. So let's reposition this a bit, and we'll do a second scan. So I can hit append. Okay, I think that should pick up the front and the back. Let's hit scan. Okay, when it got to the side, it lost the tracking data, but it seemed to have picked it up again. So it looks like we got some of the back and all of the front. Okay, and so we're going to rebuild that. And then I'll turn the car on its side here. So hopefully it'll get more of the interior. And we'll even get the bottom too. Okay, yeah, it did a pretty good job. So it did not get a whole lot of the other side. Let's rotate it that way and maybe it'll pick that up too. Okay, and then we'll append and do another scan. This is great because then I can show you how we merge the multiple scans together. It looks like we're not picking up the bottom because it's black. As again, most scanners will have trouble picking up black. Alright, so I'll try spraying this and scanning it a little bit more maybe, and then we'll show you in the software how we assemble the different scans together. Okay, so I've done all of the scans that I needed to do, I believe. I don't think I missed anything. If you look here, we can see them all. Rotate. Okay, and you can see I did some spraying on the bottom, so it picked up the black. Okay, yep. So let's go back up to the top. And like I said, you can see because we scanned the base first, it's pink here, which means it's selected. So all I have to do is hit delete. Oh, I have the wrong one selected here. Okay, there we go. And so come on to the next one. And this one, it got some of the bottom, so I don't think I need to delete that. So if you look up here, you can see how we can select. If we control left drag, that'll select. And if we alt left drag, that'll deselect. Yep, there we go. There we go. So I don't need to delete that one. All right, so let's move on to the next one. And same thing, I don't want to delete all that. That's useful stuff. So you can use the mouse wheel to scroll, to zoom out. So alt, drag around that. Okay. Oh, same thing here. Oh, I forgot to select it again. All right. There we go. Okay. I got this one. Now this one, you can see some of the base there and it's selected, but we also have some of the car. So let's very carefully alt and drag because we don't want to get the car. A little bit more. Okay. And now I can just hit delete to get rid of that base. Okay, move on to the last one. Oops, and yeah, it looks like the same thing with this one. Some parts we don't necessarily want to delete. Well, I see a little bit here that might be the base. So let's just go around and get everything but that. And then I'll hit delete. Okay, so let's actually merge these together. So look, this is actually a pretty good one. I got quite a bit of the car. So I can come and I can make this one visible too with the eye. So we have them both, but they're not quite lined up. That's okay. We can just hit auto align there and hit align, and it'll take a few moments. And that did a pretty good job. It's now these front wheels and even the back wheels might have rotated a little bit because they turn. So while I was moving the car around, they might have turned. Hopefully, it's not too bad. Let's hit OK. Right. So now it's getting me to process because it thinks that I only wanted to merge those two. But no, I have more that I want to merge. So let's come back up here. And this icon up here is for aligning more. So I have group one is already selected. Let's make another bit available. Okay, that's more of the bottom. I'm going to try get some more of the top. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll control click to get the group and this one, and hit align again. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay, hit okay. All right, now let's see what is going on with this one. That looks pretty good. Okay, we got that one and the group. I come back up here to align. I'm going too fast. Okay, we're back at align. So we got the group. And is it this one? Yeah. Okay, so that one and the group. Now align. It actually does not take that long to align each one. I'm surprised. That looks pretty good. Say okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back to align so I don't forget. Okay, so now let's load this one up. Okay, that is a lot of the bottom. Hopefully that'll line up okay, because there's not a whole lot in this scan that matches with the rest of the car. So let's hit align. Okay, I don't think that lined up properly. Let's hit return. And I'm going to try the other one. Let's see if that will line up better. Okay, that is pretty good. Now, some of this inside part didn't quite get scanned. So I could probably do more scans and get some of that better. Hopefully, it'll still be all right. Okay. Now, let me hide that. And I'm going to look at this. We may not be able to get this because there's not much that matches along with the rest of it. But let's give it a try. Okay, yeah, it looks like it did not line it up properly. So let's just forget the base for now. I could do some manual aligning, but I'm not sure I would be able to do much manually either. I would really need to get a scan that has the bottom and one of the sides or something.
So, okay, so let's go back. We'll make sure the group is selected. All right, so now we're in the regular edit mode and we can click process. But let's make sure we have everything over here. This is okay. Yeah, again, gonna remove any random points that are not accurate. I'm gonna fuse this together. Okay, removing any floating parts. Repair gaps. I don't think I want to do that because it's gonna fill in the bottom. Simplify, I don't want to do because I want the best possible quality. And texture mapping I'll turn on so we can get this nice blue texture. All right, let's hit process. And I'll just call this toy car and hit apply. Okay, yep, gonna hit up, oh, gonna go to high quality and just hit apply. So this will take a little while because it's going through several different steps up here, but it doesn't take too long, a minute or two. Okay, that actually took about 18 minutes, but it might be just because of my recording or possibly because of my graphics card is not that good on this computer, this laptop. But we got a finished print or finished scan, and it looks pretty good. Now, obviously, there's some holes in there because I didn't scan some areas, but it generally looks pretty good, I think. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, okay. And so we can turn the textures off with this button over here. And yeah, you can see it came out pretty good, I think. You know, not perfect. These vents back here are kind of barely visible, but I think it's a pretty good scan that you could go into software like, let's rotate that. You could go into software like 3D Coat, for example, and or Blender or something, and come in and fill in some of the areas you missed, or I could go in and rescan this so I get more of this area that's missing. But yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so let's go scan something else.
Okay, so I got a few things scanned with the turntable, but I really wanted to try out the handheld mode. And I've got this old vacuum cleaner here. I thought it had a cool shape. Maybe you could kit bash a scan of it and use parts of it to make like a spaceship or something. But yeah, so I've got the scanner here, and I got a extension cord so that I can plug it in and I don't have to worry about getting snagged up on the short power cord. Okay, so let's get this plugged in. I've got the software running, and we'll get to scanning. Oh, by the way, I did make an error earlier. Let me correct myself. I had said that once the software is running, if you then plug in the scanner, the software won't detect it. That is true. However, I found in the upper left corner there is a button you can press to recheck for the scanner, and then it detects it. All right, let's go over to Easy Scan for the handheld mode. Okay, now this is glossy, and interestingly, unlike other scanners I've used, this one didn't include any marker stickers, and there's no settings for markers that I could find in the software, so we'll see what it can do without them. All right, so I mean that's half of it, and I'm pretty impressed so far. It looks like you did a pretty good job. I'm gonna have to turn it around and do the rest, and then we'll take a look at it. All right, let's take a look at these scans. Here's the car we were working on. Uh, it came out pretty good. Um, as we can see, it had a little bit of trouble getting inside the like the feet area of the front seat. So that's not great, but the textures I think look pretty good. I have a little bit of trouble with these wheels. I think they were turning during the scan. Um, Underneath, it was all black, so we did have some trouble scanning the back area, but you know, you're probably never going to see that. Again, some of these front wheels had a little bit of trouble scanning because it was black. I tried spraying it, but I guess I didn't do a good enough job. Let's take a look at it with no textures. I think it did a pretty good job overall. Yeah. Let me just say I did, this is loaded into 3D Coat. All I did was load the models. I didn't do any kind of sculpting or anything on them. Okay. All right, let's switch on over to the next model. All right, this is a teapot that I had here in the house, and I also did the lid, and I think the textures came out fantastically. It may look like you can see inside there, but actually, no, it did not scan at all inside. I think maybe just the first maybe inch or so it might have scanned. But it came out really nice, I think. Take a closer look here. The lid has this cute froggy. Yeah. All right, let's look with no textures. And yeah, those details came in very nicely. As you can see, again, it just filled in the top. Had a little bit of trouble with the spout up there. It's not perfect, but pretty good scan in general. Look at the bottom. Bottom looks good. Again, this the real one has a big hole here, so that did get filled in a bit. All right, next up, I scanned this very tiny, very tiny toy tanuki that I got from a gotcha machine in Japan. It's really only about 1 inch tall. I've actually used this on one of my other scanner reviews. But it came out pretty good. The textures are not bad, especially for something this tiny. There we go. It actually looks better without the textures, I think. And, even in some of these crevices, it did a pretty good job, I feel like. This model always had trouble scanning in there, and in this area up here next to the little torch. Yeah, it's not great up there, but it's to be expected, I think. Generally, it looks really good. See underneath of him. Okay, next up, this is a skull that I had actually printed for Halloween time. I printed it with some glow-in-the-dark rainbow filament, and the colors came out really nice. Got a few little spots, little spot back here. I think maybe there was a hole there in the original. Did not pick that up. And it actually did get a lot of the inside, I think. This area in here, this looks like it didn't really get much. Let's take a look at it with no textures. And yeah, you can see it didn't do a whole lot in the back, but it did get some of the inside and the front. Not a whole lot. Yeah, it came out really nice. You know, considering that this scanner isn't really meant to do really small, fine details, like it's not really meant for jewelry, for example. But I think the details came out very nicely. And then here we go. This is the vacuum cleaner that you saw me scanning. This came out really good. Of course, it's dirty. It's not a brand new vacuum. So it's got some use and some wear. This vent in here kind of looks okay. It's not perfect. That might be just the texture, though. Take a closer look at that with no textures. Yeah, see, the black did not really scan perfectly because it's a hole, I guess. But still, it's really smooth. I'm really kind of shocked at how well and how smooth that came out. A little bump here. It might be a piece of dirt or something that was on it. You got the screw holes here that came out pretty well. There's the back. Now, this here is where the handle would plug in, so it's just a hole. And you can see that did get filled in. There's the cord got cut off. I wasn't scanning all of it. This hook where the cord wraps around did not come out perfectly, I guess because it's very thin. Yeah. And got some kind of weird textures underneath of here. But overall, again, I really like how this came out. You know, you could totally, I'm right here in the sculpting program, I could totally smooth out some of those rough textures in there. We can see around the actual suction part here was all black, and that did not scan at all. But I mean, considering that I had no markers on this, I'm very surprised. Oh, there we go. That's my look at the Moose scanner. I think it did a really good job. If you liked this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. And I'll see you next time.